Well, on tax, a crucial question is just how much tax reform will be delivered in this year's budget. As I mentioned, now less than a fortnight away. The pressure is on the government to produce a plan that can drive growth and jobs, repair the deficit and be palatable to the people who will be voting with their feet on July 2. Joining me a short time ago, Josh Frydenberg, Minister for Resources, Energy and Northern Australia and former Assistant Treasurer. Josh Frydenberg, thanks for joining us there.
Nice to be with you, Tiki.
Minister, a big focus on tax today. I see this open letter to the Prime Minister from 40 high-profile Aussies saying, Prime Minister, you can outlaw the use of shell companies, require multinationals to be transparent. There's a feeling the government is not doing enough about tax dodging.
Well, obviously, I would refute that strongly in saying that the Turnbull government's absolutely committed to clamping down on transfer pricing and profit shifting. We've done that in a number of ways, Tiki. We've passed legislation which doubles the penalties on those who are engaged in that unlawful conduct. We've beefed up the resources of the Australian Tax Office's International Division so that it is greater than it ever was under the Labor Party. And we've worked very cooperatively with our international partners through the G20 and the OECD.
Now, I think you're also proposing a change to the thin capitalisation rules, which will lower the amount of debt a multinational can put into their Australian operation and get tax deductions. Now, is that more a revenue clawback exercise? It's not going to change any tax dodging behaviour, is it?
Well, I'm not going to get into the ruling in or the ruling out of what's in the budget. I'll leave that to the Treasurer at the appropriate time. Will
that not put off further foreign investment?
Well, look, I'll leave those decisions to budget night and those announcements to budget night. But we have got a much more attractive investment climate and policy positions than the Labor Party does. And when it comes to thin cap, we reject the worldwide gearing ratio that the Labor Party has put forward.
Minister, Moody's has warned about Australia's AAA credit rating. Now, critical to the budget bottom line is commodity prices. What's been happening since MyEFO mid-year?
Well, as you know, in last year's budget, we priced iron ore at $48 a tonne. It subsequently came down in December to the high 30s, so we went into MyEFO at $39 a tonne. Today, it's above $60. So every $10 it goes up can mean a multi-billion-dollar benefit to the budget. But the prices are fluctuating. There's a number of factors at play. So I'm upbeat about the demand for resources out of China. If you look at last year, even though the value of our iron ore exports went down commensurate with prices falling, actually volume went up by 10%. When you look at other commodities like LNG, obviously it's benchmarked to the oil price, and the oil price again has gone up.
Well, just on LNG, we recall the Chevron chief saying that LNG revenues would provide schools and hospitals. Doesn't that seem now about as real as the old mining tax revenues delivering the Gonski funding?
Absolutely not, Tiki. When you consider that Australia will overtake Qatar to be the world's largest LNG exporter by 2020, we really have been in the sweet spot of the growing demand globally for gas. We've seen some $200 billion worth of investment in Australia.
But future revenues surely will be nothing like they were promised.
I don't actually agree with that, because the prices will fluctuate over the 40-year time frame for these projects. And ASIL Allen did a report looking into the Gorgon and Wheatstone LNG plants, which Chevron has a major position, and said that they will be paying around $100 billion worth of tax over the life of those projects. Now, that's a lot of tax, and that's going to go into the government's coffers.
So much has been taken off the table in the lead up to the budget, the GST, negative gearing, and big business is wondering if the latest carrot that corporations tax, the glide in reduction, is really locked in.
Well, again, Tiki, it won't surprise you, but on the eve of the budget, I won't be going into that level of speculation. I'll leave that to the Treasurer.
And Minister, the Kidman major land sale proposed to a Chinese buyer, that's been delayed by the Treasurer until just after the election. Now, a lot of it's in the north. Does it not underline the sensitivity of Chinese foreign ownership, especially after the Port of Darwin decision?
Well, Foreign investment in Australia is absolutely critical. Now, when it comes to the Kidman property, Kidman is the largest private landowner in the country, and as you say, with properties across Queensland and the Northern Territory, Western Australia and South Australia. So the Treasurer rightly has said he needs more time to consider the national interest implications of this.
Well, Labor says an independent review and delays until after the election means you're now sending mixed messages about foreign ownership.
No, I think this is a particular case, just given the size of the particular land in question. When you mentioned the Darwin port, you know, that went ahead, and obviously the Defence Department had their opportunity to raise their concerns. But what we have done now as a government has ensured that when state and territory governments are selling critical infrastructure, that will be properly reviewed by FIRB, which wasn't previously the case. So we have, again, made improvements to ensure that the FIRB process is rigorous, as the Australian people would expect us to do, but we do underline the importance of foreign investment, particularly to develop the north.
Josh Frydenberg, it's been very good to talk. Thank you very much.
Great to be with you, Tikki.
Well, to the markets now, where it's all blue skies at the moment. Commodity prices continue to climb. The big banks are being bought, and the ASX is not far off getting back in the black for 2016. Asian markets are rallying too. Tokyo's Nikkei cheered a falling yen. The Chinese markets forgot about yesterday's tumble. And the Australian dollar is up against the major currencies and back at 78 US cents.